Today on the show, we're talking E3, all things. Hey everybody, welcome to Press Pause, the video game discussion show. I'm your host, Carl Stradella. With me, per usual now, Mr. Dan Shu. With Press Pause, also bitmob.com, pretty good website. And our special guest today, Mr. John Davison. I'm going to say Mr., is that okay?
That's fine.
Back on the show, last time we were on the show, we talked about balls and the PlayStation Move.
We did.
Yeah.
Glowing balls.
Glowing balls. We're not going to talk about balls today. Well, maybe. PlayStation Move, I don't know. We are going to talk about E3 and all things it. What I think we do is go by each person, say press conferences, winner, loser, and then things you're excited about and things you're disappointed by. Right? Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
I like how John's like, let's see, I don't know if that works for me.
No, change the format.
Okay, never mind.
I'm done with E3.
I know. That's what I was going to say. This is the last time we can talk about it, like, for a while, right? Let's just get it all out. And we're done.
All right.
Okay. And also, I want to start and say, listening to Shane Bettenhausen on Weekend Confirmed allows me to feel better in being jaded. I'm like, you know, I feel better like being an old man.
Right?
Yeah. So, John, what do you think?
What do I think?
Press conferences.
Who won?
Who won?
I think Nintendo kind of won.
Explain.
But I don't think anyone got an A for effort. I don't think.
I think it's E for everybody. Yes. Sorry.
No one got an
No
A
one got
for
an
effort.
A for effort. No one got an A for. Okay, continue.
Well, my kids, they get an A for effort sometimes.
All right.
That's nice of you.
Yeah. So I thought they were a big step in the right direction. I wasn't crazy about the Wii U. I think it's not quite everything that it should be.
Yeah.
I think the big misstep is that, I mean, I know that it's a cost thing, but I think the fact that it's a resistive screen on the controller is going to be a setback for them 2 years from now, when the thing is just getting going and capacitive screens are getting a lot cheaper.
Right. Now, I heard you on the Weekend Confirmed. It's not a multi-touch screen.
No.
This is a big.
It's a big DS screen. It's a big high def DS screen, not real high def, but. And I think there's a lot of. I mean, it's obvious what they're doing, right? They're responding to Apple and they're responding to Google. And even though they're saying that it's not a response to the iPad, it clearly is. But any kid that picks up any kind of iDevice or phone right now is used to swiping and tapping and multi-touch and pinching, and this thing can't do it. So I think a lot of kids are going to pick it up and think it's broken.
Yeah, I mean, they were talking about it. This thing doesn't work. Take it back, Mommy. All right, honey. I
mean, it's still very impressive, and it is a big step in the right direction, but I think they've rather than... You know, I mean, we don't know when the thing's coming out. It's coming out next year, right? And I think by the time it comes out, it's going to feel like old, very old touchscreen technology. Right. I mean, the DS already does. And yeah, it's big and it can do like all the crazy stuff. But I think, you know, for putting images sort of in your hands, it's great. But for interacting with them, I think it's very quickly going to seem limited.
But then you just said they were kind of the winner, though.
Well, right, because I think that was the best step in acknowledging where everything is going.
Okay.
I think the Vita has a limited lifespan. That does have every touch and everything, but I think the days of people wanting to carry around multiple devices, particularly one that won't even fit. I mean, it's big. I was shocked how big it is when I saw it, and the fact that you can't really have it in your pocket, and it's not going to have all the games that you want in it. And I think early on, all of those gamers are going to pounce on it and think it's awesome that we've got high-def games in our pocket, but I think the tail on it is...
Hey, the same thing we have on PSP. We talked about this before. Like, I don't play my PSP.
No.
In the beginning, it was like, oh my goodness, it's a PS2. It's unbelievable, but now I don't care. You know?
Yeah, where you say like the iPad is going to kind of hurt the Wii U, I think it's even more so like the smartphones in general with the PS Vita, because it's like now... It's not just like having an all-in-one device, right? Where your phone could play games, do your email, internet, everything you need to right there. And it's so small, but it changes the business model too, because who wants to pay $30 for a full-on PS Vita game? You know, people are kind of slowly turning to like $1 to $5 is a good price point for most video games. So I think that's what's going to hurt PS Vita in the long run.
So who's your loser of the show then? So winner's kind of Nintendo. Is there any clear-cut loser?
I mean, no, not a clear-cut one. I thought Microsoft seemed to be floundering a little bit. I thought it was like, you know, okay, so 10 million of you bought Kinect. Suppose we better do something with it, huh?
Yeah, here's some Kinect Sports
here's
for
some
you.
Kinect Sports, and you can talk to Mass Effect and wave your arms around in Fable, and I mean the whole that I wasn't convinced by the yes, Kinect is also for the core, and it's like, really?
Yeah, they showed a lot of Kinect games, but they were all like, I don't know.
My kids are going to freak for the Star Wars game. It's going to be awesome, and they'll play Child of Eden, you know, which is out now, right? Didn't it come out this week?
Right, isn't it? I think so. Yeah.
But I wasn't sort of super impressed with the other stuff. I mean, it's still, I think, you know, clear that Microsoft is the core gaming box. Yeah. But I thought Sony were trying harder.
They were trying harder, I thought, yeah.
I mean, it helped that they came out and there was some humility and, you know, they acknowledged it up front, which was very un-Sony-like of the past.
I heard that was unscripted.
Well, it's good. I mean, fair play to him for coming out and hitting it head on immediately. Yeah. And then going straight into stuff. And I think they know they've got some good exclusive stuff. I think their approach to the third-party games is good. They started with Batman with the playable Joker, and I think the fact that Bioshock Infinite has the original Bioshock with it, and you know, they're pushing really hard on filling up the Blu-ray to give you a reason to buy the PS3 version over the Xbox 360 one. But I wasn't convinced by Vita. I also wasn't convinced by Ken Levine's like, I was a doubter of the PlayStation Move until they backed up a huge truckload of money, and now I'm a believer.
That was pretty fake. So let's say, I'm going to say Nintendo basically kind of winner, Microsoft kind of loser for you.
Kind of, yeah.
No, Sony in the middle. Yeah. Dan?
I wish I got to go first because it's
yeah, let's say cut. We're doing it all over again. We'll do it all over again.
Yeah, because I mean, I could kind of sense like you're just like, it's like no one really impressed me, no one really lost, and that's kind of my attitude towards everyone at E3 too. It's like, well, if you had to pick a winner, Nintendo by default, and I mean, I say that because like afterward, like I had a lot of different like newspapers or TV stations calling me to talk about this thing, so it's exciting, right?
Yeah, it's exciting.
And anytime there's a hardware announcement at E3, it becomes an exciting E3. It's like you want to see what it does, but
if they show the hardware. Where's the console?
They did.
It was in the distance, and there's that also.
It was weird. It's like during the videos, it's always in the background.
Yeah, behind like a little glass.
You don't need to worry about that.
Don't look at our system.
But so the thing is, for me, where Nintendo kind of went wrong is their messaging was really like, we want to reach the hardcore guys again. Yeah, we screwed up. We want to get those guys back. But they didn't do a good job of addressing that because all the demos that they showed were very casual, very cartoony, or a lot of Mii's and things like that. They look like family games. Yeah. And then all the hardcore stuff was shown by the third parties.
And it was really non-committal as well, which I thought everything was phrased in, imagine this, or
this would be great
if
we had
this. If, you know?
Yeah. So it's like, all right, Assassin's Creed and Battlefield, like games that you can already play, or you will be playing on other systems. So it's like,
well, I guess their draw is that they can use that tablet for something different, right? So they add a different functionality for that.
But because they didn't show that, like, how will that work in Battlefield, for example? How will that work in Call of Duty? So you don't know, and it becomes kind of difficult. Right?
So you're saying they're a loser then, right?
No. But by default, out of those three, they had the most exciting press conference, right? You wanted to see this new technology. And what I am excited for is this tablet. You know, I think you're right about how it compares to the iPad, but I kind of look at it as, well, forget about it as a tablet. I think as an input device, period, is kind of exciting to me. Yeah. Like there's a lot of new things. Like people, you see people get excited over that golf thing.
The golf thing was cool.
But there's, that's just a little visual thing. But it's cool. Like, and then like you could use it with the gyroscope and all that. So you could use it as like a window to another world. So there's a lot of. I'm not a game designer, but there's a lot of different ideas that could come from that I'm excited to see.
I'm wondering if PSP will take, or PSP Vita or whatever will use some of that now and be like, hey, we have a screen. It interacts with PS3. Why don't we just make it a tablet as well?
It's funny. I was actually just talking about this with one of our community members. The thing is, this tablet will come with all Wii U's, whereas the PS Vita won't come with all PS3s. So the support behind that will be a little bit different.
You can't do the finger reach around on.
Oh, the reach around.
Gotta love that. Did you play Little Deviants? It felt really weird playing it.
Yeah, you were sticking.
Poke your finger up behind it.
I did the Mod Nation Racers.
I felt dirty. I gotta admit, I felt dirty doing it. So loser of the show.
I think by default, maybe Microsoft, just because they had the least exciting thing, right? So Sony, actually, I would say you might have called them a winner because they started at rock bottom coming into the show, right, with the PSN hacking. So, like you said, like they addressed it right off the bat. They made a few jokes. By the end of it, no one was thinking about PSN problems at all, right? There's like, you've moved on. So I think Sony did a good job overcoming that right away.
And then later, the news came out that all these other places got hacked down. Nintendo got hacked, Bethesda got hacked,
and so Sony had done their research as well. Because I mean, like, we did some with our own users, and also we just did sort of a general like Twitter and Facebook research project. And the only people that were talking about identity theft and like the real sort of like end of the world stuff were journalists and people on shows like this. The users were just annoyed that PSN didn't work.
Yeah,
like, that was all they cared about.
Yeah, get my thing back.
Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds like Nintendo winner, Microsoft
Nintendo
loser.
winner, Sony kind of a winner. Microsoft, it's hard to call them a loser. It's just they're like coasting.
Less of a winner.
Let's say overall, because I'll agree with both of you guys. It seems like it's all kind of in the middle, you know, no clear-cut thing. Where Nintendo should be the clear-cut thing. We should be really excited about it, but we're not. We're like, but damn it, with that.
Where Nintendo kind of lost it a bit for me actually was the 3DS lineup. I thought it just felt like, oh God, how many times are you going to trot out the same thing over and over again? And then it turns out later on that they'd turned Mario into Crash Bandicoot, which I thought was a little disappointing as well.
That's a no-win situation for that, because if they don't show that stuff, people would be mad. It's like, where's my Mario? Where's my Zelda?
Speaking of Mario, there's Mario Kart. I will say the Mario Kart that I played was cool in the fact that they added that kind of flying mechanic to it. You guys played it, right?
Yep.
And I feel like that gives it a shot in the arm. So
I like it in
the
3D,
water stuff. I think that's kind of cool. But then again, we'll always play Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Like, come on, be honest. So I think during the show, I was kind of high on the Nintendo vibe. Like you said, it's new hardware. I'm like, I don't get it. It's confusing to me, but cool. Good for them. They're trying HD Zelda someday with that video that isn't really the game. So I was just kind of high on that, right? So I would call them the winner during the show. But then post-show, I get back, and I'm like, wait a minute. That controller was kind of cheap, and it doesn't do multi-touch, and there's no games. And wait, it's not coming out for a long time, so I'm playing Wii games all year. No, I'm not. I'm going to play my Microsoft, Xbox 360, you know? So for me, I feel like Sony's the winner. Weirdly enough, I wouldn't have thought that, but because the amount of titles they had and the PSP Vita, it's weird, but I really am interested in that near functionality. I'm a nerdy for it, but I don't like the idea that's going to be...
That was the thing that was basically Street Pass.
Street Pass, but
he loves his Street Pass.
I love my Street Pass. It's with me at all times. I don't know where it is now, though, I'm afraid. Yeah, and so, you know, some of that stuff is interesting, and just by default, like Microsoft, like you said, resting on their laurels, they made me feel mad. Like, I'm like, yeah, some good games. We knew those games were going to come out. Nothing just knocked me over the head and was like, whoa. Nothing knocked me over the head in the whole conference, really. Like, you know, except the Wii U's interesting.
See, what I wish they did, what I wish Nintendo did, was talk more with the third parties about specific ideas.
Right.
What do you do? Like, for example, I saw Alien Colonial Marines, right? From Sega. And I thought, I'm like, you know what they should do is they should make that tablet the motion tracker from the movie, right? With the blips and the sound coming from it, and you have that while you're playing a game. Like, that'd be awesome.
And just get us excited about what it can do.
I found out later that Gearbox is planning that, but it's like that would have been, if they would have talked about that in the audience or in a press conference, I think people would have been like, oh, now I see the potential. Like, why is your game's going to be better than 360?
Like, remember the time when they opened up the guy's gun? What was that? What game was that?
Ghost Recon.
Ghost Recon, what they did with the hands. Like, that's an awe moment, right? They could have done that. Like, Nintendo could have been like, here's an awe moment with you, you know? And even if it's just like that one thing, it doesn't have to be a whole game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you. So we're all kind of mad on it, on all of them. It's interesting.
I'm okay, indifferent, like lukewarm.
What was exciting to you? What stood out that you were like, a couple things maybe that you were...
Bioshock Infinite, that demo was awesome.
Awesome.
Batman.
Of course.
Yeah. And not just the playable Catwoman, I just thought the whole vibe about it. I actually realized when I got home that I'd never finished Arkham Asylum, and seeing Arkham City made me go back to beat Arkham Asylum, which is a lot harder than I remember.
It is difficult.
It's really difficult.
Yeah.
What else did I see that I liked? I mean, Battlefield, I thought was of the Battlefield versus Call of Duty brewing apocalypse. I think Battlefield has my attention a little bit more. I like the variety.
Looks so good.
It looks so amazing.
The graphics are incredible in Battlefield.
And just the vehicle stuff looked pretty awesome. And that was another one where I wish when they'd trotted EA out to talk about, hey, we could do Battlefield on Wii U, and then it would have been, the next logical thing would be, we would do this with the controller. Like, they've just shown that sort of tank battle thing, just to kind of show that it's not just a first-person shooter. And there was a lot of kind of moving to screens in the game. It would have been interesting to say, well, hey, we could be doing this on the TV while this is going on the controller. Yeah. But I don't think anyone's ready to commit on that stuff with Wii U yet.
It's too bad because remember during the Nintendo video they showed the gun with the tablet as like a little screen.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's cool. But what they should have given us more concrete ideas, like, okay, this is how Battlefield's going to use it, and like that might be the first time I would actually use like a gun peripheral in a first-person shooter.
Even if there was going to be, I mean, we'd heard rumors that there was, some second screen stuff coming for a number of the shooters, that maybe even through apps for phones or whatever that could be tactical displays. But what I think the Wii U is doing, and I think Nintendo needs to accelerate the communication about what the device can do, is because now I think everyone's going, well, our game's connected and we have a mobile division. We could just push an app that syncs with the game and does something cool on a second screen already. So people are already playing games with their phone or their iPad next to them for strategy, or they're watching video, or it's not going to take much for them to take something you already have and supplement the game that you just bought with something cool.
Yeah.
I got to think that some of the Call of Duty Elite stuff could go mobile as a sort of supplementary thing. I thought that was all really interesting.
Anything that was like totally you're like disappointed in that you were like, I mean, besides maybe the Wii U in a way.
There was nothing that was really like, I thought some of the motion control, I guess the motion control stuff, it still feels like no one can really think what they're supposed to do with it.
Yeah,
I thought
like the move stuff, they showed a lot of move stuff, but none of it looked really
I skipped all of that.
Good job.
I thought, my kids are really into sports right now, so I was excited to see the 2K12 games, and I thought that the motion control in NBA
so weird.
was just like,
I'm going to point my hand at the screen. Who does that? Yeah. Go there now. Why don't I play the game instead?
Yeah. So I think, the motion was the most disappointing.
Okay. Dan, excited about something?
BioShock. I mean, I think it's no brainer. I think if you polled everyone at E3 who saw BioShock, 100% of them will answer BioShock.
I was not ready for the whole tearing thing. I didn't see that coming. And when she kind of reached into the horse's head and suddenly you're in 1980s American street scene, I'm like, oh my God, what the hell just happened?
And they just teased you with it just enough to you're just like, what the hell happened and why and what's going on, and just raise more questions.
Get you interested in the world, and you're like, whoa, I need to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I could go on for like 2 hours about that demo, but
let's not.
My friend Russ was sitting next to me. He said that was exhilarating. I'm like, that's the perfect word, because when I left that demo, I felt like I needed to take a breath. I was like, whoa, there was a lot just went on there.
I did wonder just how staged the demo was, though, because I could see, there's all that kind of scooting around on rails and shooting stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have to jump off onto the airship. I was just saying, okay, when I play this, I'm going to be whizzing past that airship so many times that I'm missing.
Just see you going, ah!
Yeah.
But apparently you can't.
But they're not going to show that.
You can't fall off now. They've changed the game so that you can't actually fall off the world in that scenario. It does the kind of Sly Cooper suck you onto the rail thing.
Yeah, I would imagine, because there'd be a lot of just dying. Without that.
Prey 2, by the way, is also awesome. I think it's under.
But it's not Prey. Don't get me started. I will go off for a while, because Prey is one of my favorite games of all time, and also I'm a Native American, so there's no Native Americans in games. It was an awesome game. It was a cool idea.
How do you know he's not Native American?
No, he is Native American.
No, the new guy.
He isn't.
How do you know? Did you ask?
They said, yes, I asked him.
Right.
I asked the game character.
I don't know.
He isn't. It's a totally different game. It's a bounty hunter game, and it looks really cool.
It looks so cool.
It shouldn't be called Prey 2, that's all.
Whatever. It looks really, really cool.
It should be called Prey 2.
Excited about that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's disappointing?
Disappointing was Duke Nukem Forever.
Can we just get over that game now?
It's done.
It's out now, so it's kind of weird, but I got to play multiplayer for the first time. I used to love multiplayer Duke Nukem 3D. I think we might have played back. Yeah, we used to play back in the day over at Dwango and things like that. And
God,
much
you're
fun.
Making me feel really old. Dwango, I forgot all about that.
We would play dial-up Duke Nukem 3D.
Whoa! And they were calling me old earlier.
You were around then.
I was around. 14K.
Yeah. 14K. And then when I played it at E3, I was just like, it doesn't capture any of the magic. It was so clunky, and it's so the technology.
But you could take pictures with those girls in that chair.
Yeah, it was bad.
No thanks.
So I'm going to start with my disappointment, and I think it's definitely Wii U. I mean, I'm so confused by it. I want to be excited about a new console. We were leading up to it, like, yay! But we didn't see the console, and I think it was too early, and they're still working on it or something.
Do you find that it's a bit sort of more of an affectation than the Wii was? Because last time they were like, we're setting out to be disruptive, and the disruptive thing is you do less of technology for cheaper, make people think about things differently, and ultimately you win. I think this seems more like a conscious effort to be that.
Well, they're trying. It feels like you said, they came out and said, "Hey, we're going to hook up the hardcore."
Yeah.
No, you're not. Not yet. I mean, that's me running around. That's not hooking up the hardcore. You know, that's Pac-Man basically. It was Pac-Man. So that was my disappointment, and it still is. But my excitement was actually, I really like the Dead Island stuff. I'm kind of back on the camp for Dead Island because I mean, first I saw the new trailer they had, and just I love zombie movies and stuff. It just felt good, and of course Skyrim.
Dead Island is pretty cool if you forget about those videos. If it's like it's nothing to do. with these videos.
No, you can't think about the trailer. The trailer, forget about it. But the game itself, and it's fun to play that, and the hand-to-hand physical combat stuff in a zombie game. Skyrim, of course, just looks beautiful.
Although
like I want to live in that world.
They didn't have the greatest demo setup because it was very warm in that theater. People said they felt like they wanted to fall asleep.
I did.
You fell asleep?
Did you fall asleep?
I fell asleep multiple times.
You need to be ejected from press pause right now.
No, it was like right after lunch. It was dark. It was really warm.
No, but
and then the first 10 minutes was spent like, look at these. We're gonna walk through the fields.
It was so mellow.
Right. It was. Yeah.
Or like, look at the grass, look at the stream, and look at the mountains.
That is the opposite of what they want to do to get you excited about the game.
I was like trying so hard. I'm like, I hope no one sees.
They have little pillows. Like little margaritas.
It was so comfy and warm.
It was, because it was so convincing of a world. That's what's great about it.
I thought of another disappointment.
Oh, go ahead.
Need for Speed the Run.
Oh, yeah. Quick time events, right? That's all it is.
And also, I don't need to go back to that. I mean, it's the first one that Black Box has done for a while, right? In that kind of urban... But it's like, we didn't like Need for Speed Undercover, we told you, and we didn't like Carbon that much either. Like, why do you keep trying to force characters into Need for Speed? And
because they have that brand still, and they're like, we got Need for Speed. We should make another one.
What Criterion did with it was awesome, and then they're not spacing Hot Pursuit and Shift out.
Right.
I mean, they need to give them room to breathe, and like, we don't need the cops and robbers storyline. We just need cool cars doing cool stuff.
San Francisco Driver, I'm kind of interested in because living in San Francisco. They were like, if you know San Francisco, you'll be able to take all the side streets. And I was like, really? That seems cool. Although I don't really drive.
And I like the sort of zapping from car to car. One of the Battlefields did that on console, right? Where you could zoom from one guy to another.
I don't remember that.
You're dating yourself, I think. Just kidding.
I'm old. I don't mind.
Another disappointment for me is Catherine. I was really excited about Catherine. Not many people were. I mean, I like the obscureness of it or whatever. Then when I got there and played it, I felt really bad for the guy showing me because there's an adventure game, you know, walk around and stuff. But then when you get to the action scenes, I thought they'd be more like, you know, action scenes like Bayonetta or something fun and interesting. And it's literally going up a tower. That's the whole game. All the action scenes are you just going up a tower.
Many games in history have you going up.
Thank you very much, Dan Shu. It's like literally like step by step, you know, like. Anyways, it's boring, and I was like, "Thanks, I'm gonna put this down now." And he's like, "But thanks."
Of, torture porn Tomb Raider.
Oh yeah. It's Uncharted, and I'm kind of excited about that. It's basically Uncharted now, and she just does a lot more grunting.
I don't need so much of these like flashing things, like go do this next kind of game.
That's like Dragon's Lair.
It's worse. I think it's more obvious than Dragon's Lair. Dragon's Lair is like a quick hint, right? And then it's like, and you have to react to it. Tomb Raider's like, all right, you look around, like that big glowing thing, I guess I got to do that next. It's too much hand-holding.
Sometimes you're like, what? You want me to set fire to what?
Do I really need to? I will also say that I was kind of, because the show floor, you know, a lot of the stuff we kind of knew already, which, again, go back to the mech kind of thing. But I was kind of interested in the Summer Arcade. I'm always like that, the Xbox Live Summer Arcade. I saw Rock of Ages, From Dusk, Bastion. I want to play all of those. From Dusk looked a lot worse than I thought.
Papo and Yo, did you play that?
Graphic-wise. What one was it?
Papo and Yo, it's one of the PSN games.
I didn't.
It's the weirdest thing ever.
Sounds like a good name.
It's sort of a puzzle adventure, but it's also like a monster leading game.
Sold.
So it was sold to me as imagine bits of Katamari, bits of Eco, and bits of Shadow of the Colossus all rolled into one.
That sounds
PSN
very
game.
good.
And it was just like, it's sort of got this sort of very kind of existential, weird vibe, and it's about the character. It's actually about the designer's relationship with his father.
Oh, right, yeah.
Through like this monster that's addicted to frogs, and the relationship between the character and the monster gets more fraught the more frogs he's eaten. And it's
that's why I like it.
But his father's like a drug addict.
Yeah,
right?
so it's a representation of alcohol and drug abuse in real life. And then the puzzle they showed me was. There's a bunch of boxes on the sidewalk, and when the character picks up a box, it actually starts rearranging the city in the background. So you have to move the boxes around on the street to make a path to lead the character and the monster through. And it was just...
Well, that's a perfect example of why I liked a lot of the smaller games at the show, you know? I was going around and I got to play them easier and quicker. But yeah, like From Dust, Bastion, that game.
Did you do
Twisted Shadow Planet?
Yeah, Twisted Shadow Planet.
Awesome.
So is Toy Soldiers.
Toy Soldiers was fun.
Cold War.
Yeah.
The sequel.
And then, weirdly enough, Warhammer Kill Team. Do you guys see that?
The shooter?
Yeah,
That was awesome.
Twin stick shooter, like Baldur's Gate, but with mech guys.
Yeah.
So I liked a lot of stuff. And also I liked some of the one 3DS game, Heroes of Ruin, which I think we have some screenshots for, right? They're Square Enix doing kind of an MMO in a way, because it's like you can co-op RPG with people. You can do it on your own, but then if you're in internet area, people can join you on that quest. And it's all co-op like for the quest, not like co-op little missions. So
then there was,
it was pretty
Renegade Ops.
awesome.
You see that? By the Just Cause team. It's another shooter that uses the Just Cause engine, but zoomed all the way back.
Yeah, exactly. So I love those little titles. So that for me, that was my excitement of the show. It's kind of weird. Is that it? Is that all our thoughts? We got through them in 20 minutes. It's good.
You know, it seems ridiculous, but I did want to give props to Nikon for their clip-on lens for the Kinect. I thought it was really ingenious.
Oh, the one is that the one you were telling me about, Scott?
It totally works.
It makes it go downwards, right?
What it means is that you can stand closer to it.
Right.
It's funny because one of our guys wrote that up as the worst demo because it just didn't work for him at all.
Oh, really?
I think it was almost comical or something, like how it wasn't working and the lens fell off and just all these things that could have gone wrong went wrong.
But you've seen it work then.
Yeah.
But I guess,
There were people, they were right next to our booth, so we would sort of like...
That's awesome for people with small rooms, like studios. Hello.
That's interesting. All right, that's good to know.
I have a couple of funny videos on the show. One is, can we find the one that's Rise of Nightmares? Do you guys see that game?
No.
It's like in that game where the guy's just kind of like standing and he like has to do all the things. He's like walking through like a Silent Hill kind of game.
Oh, is this the one that starts with the dude tied to the table?
No. I don't think so. I didn't see the beginning. I just saw him in like a crypt somewhere, and he's like, it's just awesome to watch someone play this game because he's like literally afraid and going like, So I'd just be fun with friends. Also, G4. We have the G4 girl. Is that okay?
He's probably making this stuff up.
I am making this up right now.
G4
Totally a girl.
But I was filming G4 filming, because it's interesting to see what they were doing. All their crazy lights and fancy makeup. And so I was filming, and this one girl kept looking over at me, and so I took footage of it. And I was like, is she looking at me? What's going on? And she kept like, I'm telling you. Either she thought I was crazy looking, or I shouldn't be there or something, or she was kind of into me.
So
you have the
want
footage
to
to
spend
support
time
you.
on this show today to talk about this girl checking you out.
Yes. Hey, what else can I use the show for? Come on. I want to also end with we'll end by saying thank you, John Davison.
Pleasure.
Where are you on Twitter?
JWH Davison.
That's where you are. And you are on Twitter also.
Bitmob Shoe.
I am
one word.
Shoe, yeah. And I'm Onawa, Onawa. Before we go, I thought I'd do a real quick final thought. A la Jerry Springer. So ESA, we know you're doing, you're trying to do crowd control, obviously, get less people at the show. That's totally fine. But the issue here is, no one likes long lines, but the smaller sites, the medium-sized sites, those are the ones that are the enthusiasts. They're creating viral, and they're important. They have legions of people behind them. So maybe just think about that when handing out press passes, instead of having like 50 people go from the big sites. Just my thing.
What if that hot girl who's checking you out from G4 wouldn't have made it in because...
There's like 4 people that work at G4, the 4 main people. Nice try, Dan Shu. Also, stupidgamer.com had some really cool quote that explains this, my thought here. Rather than locking out the smaller sites, it would be far better to limit the numbers being sent by qualified sites. By locking out the smaller media outlets and the enthusiasts, they're basically killing the best chance each year that these sites have at increasing their readers, since they won't have access to E3 demos and to publishers for interviews. He goes on to say that the bigger press sites have already played most of the stuff they're worried about, and the stories have already been written, so why do the big boys have to send 50 people? Thoughts? I mean, I think.
He works for a big site.
For a big boy.
big boys are awesome, but I just think that maybe...
we spent most of... we wrote everything up, obviously. We did floor impressions, but we did way more video this year than anything, and that's what really kind of takes the people. I mean, we had a live stage show and 2 live cameras going around.
Right.
That was the bulk of what we were doing to try and bring the experience home as much as we could.
Yeah.
And honestly, previews and stuff, people don't read them as much as they used to. They want to see video.
Yeah. So big shows, it totally makes sense. You'd need a lot of people to make it happen. But like the sites that send like 1 million people and they're just running around with like cameras and stuff, just taking all the same footage we already have. So
yeah, we were. I mean, Bitmop's not GameSpot, you know, like, but we had like 16 people there, and
holy smokes!
Yeah, and a lot of that was because of video.
Yeah,
too. So like you said, it takes a lot.
We'll put an asterisk in the notes that say for video, totally fine. And with that, game over. Right? No, it doesn't work.
No.
Is that, are you experimenting with a sign?
I'm trying to. Never mind.